Hey everybody, this is Joey at Boomtown. We're going to give it just another minute or so. I just see some people trickling in. So again, let's just give it another minute and we'll get started. All right, let's get started. Again, Joey at Boomtown, thank you all for joining. Obviously, it's great to have you. We're going to go through a pretty short agenda today. This will be recorded. The deck will also be handed out. And basically, we're going to go through some of the updates on basically Poynt in general. I have Bob and I think Vinny's listening in from the Poynt team talking about Poynt Capital. So that will be kind of one of the bigger takeaways from today. And then we also have a guest speaker, John from Adzi, which is really great. He's going to show you how to do online and offline marketing using the Poynt terminal and how to help your customers, your merchants, basically do social media ads, marketing online, have it all interact with the terminal so you're collecting customer data. And you're able to see when customers come back and basically when they, how many times they visit your location. So definitely a really neat kind of demo and guide on what that all looks like. I'll also go through some of the sales training and merchant demo guides that we have put together for you guys. We want you to be better at, obviously training your teams on how to sell Poynt. You can also join me weekly. I do a sales training, basically a Monday or a Tuesday each week. Any of your reps can join that. It's kind of like, office hours where I go in there. I'll do a basic training where you can ask me any questions, talk about different verticals, and I'm able to help. And at scale, that was the easiest way for me to do it, is just do that once a week. And then again, keep these webinars monthly for kind of new advancements on Poynt. And then also a merchant demo guide. I'll send this out in an email and in the deck, but basically a guide to help you sell remotely. So if you don't have a terminal, you can at least do maybe a screen share and kind of go through basically the features of Poynt and obviously why it's such a great terminal. Some quick reminders. You have the ability to get hardware from TPG, POS Portal, and POS Data. So if you need any hardware, if you already work with these groups, great. If you need an introduction, let me know. And I know that a lot of our resellers who are already signed up already work with these groups. So again, just a reminder there. And then 24/7 support. You guys get white label support. Some groups get white label phone support. You can always reach out to me and talk about the options there. But your merchants should have the Connect app, which is basically chat and video. And then you should also have the ability to use the SMS number there. Just text help 24/7. You have the ability to provide that to your customers. So if they ever need help, middle of the night, doesn't matter, 24/7 onshore team. Just a reminder that you have support through us. So now I'm going to hand it over to Bob, and we're going to talk a little bit about Poynt Capital. And so kind of set the stage here, a lot of our resellers always ask me, how do I compete against, Square? How do I compete against all these other large payment organizations? And one of the things that Square does really well is their capital program. They're able to see their customers processing. So they'll say, hey, Bob, you're with your processing, you're pre-approved for a $10,000 loan. And because they have that, they make it really seamless, and there's really no friction for the customer or your merchant to get started and, have a capital loan, cash advance, and be able to utilize that. And then you guys can get some commissions as well. So I'm going to have Bob go through this in detail. And Bob, I'm going to pass over the presenter role right now. You should get a notification. But obviously, Bob, thanks for joining. Excited to have you here. I do see your screen. And feel free to take it away.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joey. Good afternoon, everybody. So I want to talk to you about Poynt Capital. We believe it's ushering in a new era of funding. As you know, after the crash in 2008, a lot of the banks walked away from the SMB funding arena, and they focused more of their efforts on medium-sized businesses. As a result, there, is a large underserved based group, and companies like Square, as Joey mentioned, started to go after and service this particular group. At Poynt, we recognized that this was a great opportunity, and we had started building this a couple months back. And I really want to share with you now what we built and how we can help you roll this out across your customer base. So one of the things is that certainly in terms of at the POS, what we're trying to do is change the value proposition. And so that what we're trying to do is bring in, various different revenue generating ideas and services that you'll be able to use to sell and to market to your group. And the benefit of this is it creates an additional stickiness rather than just selling payments, which we think is something that's becoming a commodity. It allows you to create a value-added service to them and continue to earn great revenues from your payment service. So what we've done is when you look at our overall platform, we certainly try to meet the basic core needs, core values of making sure that we can accept different types of payments. We have multiple payment options. We are compliant with all the standards, both here in the U.S. as well as around the world. But more importantly, we believe that the app marketplace and also the introduction of services, are really going to become a critical way of you differentiating and creating more value. So we're going to we're working on things like credit at the POS. I'm going to talk to you about instant funding. We're going to be delivering programs like loyalty to you, in the near future, additional loyalty programs, ad revenue programs, etc., that we think are going to be exciting. But let me just spend a little more time talking about Poynt Capital. One of the things that we do is that when we're starting to build these programs, we're incorporating these new services like Poynt Capital into our overall platform. So if you actually go and take a look at a merchant view in your mission control, you'll see that there's a navigation bar now that says Poynt Capital. For each new service that we're going to launch, we're going to ensure that we incorporate that into our platform so that it becomes a one-stop place that your merchants can easily access all the information that they need to know about. And again, I'm telling you, now we're working. Now we're going to talk about instant funding, which we've just finished, and ready for pushing out. Credit at the POS will be something that will probably come around quarter 2020. Ad revenue, same time, and hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be talking to you about loyalty and enhanced-based loyalty beyond the loyalty program that we have today. But again, each service will start at the dashboard. So let's talk about Poynt Capital or Instant Cash. It's really a merchant cash advance program. This merchant cash advance program is basically accomplished by looking at processing flows, etc. We're now going to introduce 3 flavors of this. Not all of you will want all 3 flavors, but here are the 3 programs. One is Poynt Capital Instant Funding. It's a quick and easy access one. It's a pre-approved offer. No loan, no loan information is required. Poynt manages the program and the marketing, and what we require from you is accurate and complete merchant information. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of your requirements there. And with all of these programs, you have a chance to earn revenues from them. Next is Poynt Capital, which is a reseller marketing program. We've developed a turnkey reseller marketing program that you'll be able to get your merchants to provide the funding data to us. Poynt Capital will provide credit evaluation and back office management, and an offer will be developed based upon that input. And then last but not least is the Poynt Reseller full service program. And in this case, there are some merchants that you want to give a little additional care to. You want to take away the hassle of asking them to fill out a form You'll be collecting the information. We'll give you administrative portal. I'll show you that in a minute, and we'll do all the evaluation and and the underwriting in there and develop an offer. And again, since it's more work, there's a higher commission opportunity there. So let's go to each one of the programs in greater detail.
And before Bob moves into the next part, I just want to say if you have questions, feel free to write them in the questions tab, and then we can answer those at the end. Again, this is an option for you, not something that you have to participate in, but obviously something we want to encourage a lot of our resellers to participate in, because I think it's a really, again, easy workflow for getting your merchants more capital and actually getting you more commissions. So just again, feel free to write in your feedback and questions.
And one of the major benefits of this program is it does create more stickiness to your payment processing account. It's another reason why they will stick with the Poynt platform and your payment account. So even if you take a passive role in this, this will certainly help your business. So let's talk first about Poynt Capital Instant Funding. It's an exclusive program for Poynt merchants only. The merchants access capital at a click of a button, either from Merchant HQ or the Poynt terminal. They can actually even do it from their apps, or we'll send them an email, and two of the email copies are shown on the right-hand side here. There's no application is required. It's all pre-approved offers. These offers, we might give them an offer for $8,000 or for $35,000 or for $10,000, but they all have the option to customize those offers either by amount or repayment time. I'll show you that in a minute. And it's completely integrated with the merchant's daily reporting. The benefits to you is it generates a risk-free revenue share. So you're not going to, if you participate in the program, you don't have to worry about, if somebody defaults on the loan. We assume all that risk. Reseller assists with the data. We expect you guys to assist with the data issues or follow up with merchant contact. Sometimes we find that some of the data is not as reliable for us to do the quick funding, and you can easily earn with little or minimal requirements from your side, $240 on an average loan of $25,000, and I'll go into a little more detail on that. If you go and use, for example, look at this particular creative, the $8,000, and I click on that, I'll show you what the experience kind of looks like. If they receive an email and they decide to accept the offer as is, they'll immediately get pushed to the terms and conditions, which will completely outline everything. And by clicking on this, they're basically accepting that. So they're ready to go. And then with a short click, we link it to their bank account, and everything is done. And they'll receive the funds normally within the next, within 24 hours, and embedded in their Poynt Poynt HQ is their statement, so they see how everything is working on a repayment side. The repayment function works here that we take a percentage of their daily receipts, so it's not a major burden to them, and it's easy for them to repay. So if we look at this particular creative, it's pretty much the same experience, except for in this case they elect to customize their offer. So you can see, in this case it's just a demo, but they can slide this back and forth. The offers for $10,000, but they decided to slide it back to $8,000. They can change the funding term, and all of these dynamically and automatically change. So it really makes it a very, very easy and simple and straightforward experience, one-click experience. We've done a lot of modeling. We don't think that there's many other experiences that are that easy and to take advantage of. So that's the instant click program. Now this one, a reseller no hassle, or really it's a reseller marketing program. It's not only open to Poynt merchants, but it's open to your other reseller-based merchants. And you manage a marketing program. You'll send out a marketing program. We're going to provide you with a lot of the email templates and a landing page. And what happens is when you send out emails, or you direct them in one way or another, I'd even recommend that you might have each one of your agents put a little link on their email, and so they go to this page, they complete all the information. Poynt Capital reviews and determines the offer, and then Poynt Capital will communicate an offer to the merchant. We'll also tell you at the same time. And again, this is another way to generate a risk-free revenue share. You manage all the marketing campaigns, so you can go to your Poynt platform as well as other ones, and you earn a slightly larger commission in this particular case because you're doing a little bit more work. And then there's a full service one. This is again open to merchants in your portfolio. It provides what we do is we provide you with a reseller admin portal, and then a lot of your agents, as they're certainly they're reselling them credit card processing. We've seen a number of resellers actually use this as an acquisition tool and say, hey, not only am I going to give you a great rate on credit card processing, but I might be able to get you, a merchant cash advance that's going to kind of help you, maybe buy that new equipment or hire that additional staff that you need. So we'll collect business information, personal information, and financial information. You'll get all that information from the merchant. You'll upload the docs right in this portal. We'll review and determine the offer, then we'll discuss the offer and the next steps. And the merchant will sign a merchant cash advance agreement and get funded. So this, again, it's no risk to you. It generates risk-free revenue share. You're responsible, however, for all the data collection, and the majority of the opportunity is to target high-value merchants. So another thing we've seen here that's really makes a lot of sense is that you guys know your merchants really well. This gives you great opportunity for a conversation. If you see a higher billing merchant who's kind of getting going, you can offer them. We'll be able to maybe generate a 35,000 or higher based type of merchant cash advance for this type of program, and even on a $25,000 loan, which is very typical, you would earn 1,200 on average. So it kind of gives you an idea of the three programs. I know you guys are always interested about the commission, so let me dive a little bit deeper into that. So there's different types of payouts depending upon the different types of services that you have. And there's different types of merchant risk profiles, that we come up with, different classifications, like a CD merchant paper a risk, or an AB, or A plus is somebody who's, really got a very sterling type of record. And, under the full service approach, you guys can really earn the most under no hassle, which is that marketing based program. You earn a fairly easy commission, and again, you're having the merchant enter most of the information. And in the one-click program, there's really not too much for you to do, but we will ask you from time to time if some of the information is not correct, or or we need to get a hold of the merchant just to help them, fill in some missing information. We'll ask you for your help there. We'll also ask you to make sure that your merchant, that your onboarding information is very clean and accurate. So the real thing to think about it is this is kind of like an annuity-based program. We find that people not only take advantage of it once, but they normally go through a renewal type of cycle. So if you go and you think about it, and I'm being very very conservative. It's normally 9 to 12 months, but you guys could be earning, from a $25,000 loan, $5,400 in commission. So if you're doing the full service-based program, obviously the same formula works with the other programs as well. But the first time you get a 1,200, but on average we see a renewal 3 to 4 times. That's if you take 3.5, which is the average there, times 4,200. That's how you get to 5,400. And then 50,000, is also within the wheelhouse of this type of program. There you could be earning an additional 10,800 per merchant. So in participating in this program, we ask that the reseller is in good standing, and by that we mean you're paying Joey on time for the Poynt platform fees.
Yep.
We did that because Joey, is very important in his group. So
that's right. I'm an Italian, so I'm a collector. You better pay on time.
The collector, right? Yeah. Watch out if you don't pay on time. Actively selling, and he's from New Hampshire, so they're even worse. So actively selling the Poynt platform. We put a pretty modest number. Frankly, if you aren't selling more than 5 a month, we'd like to talk to you and find out why not, and maybe we can work with you, and Joey will work with you as well. We want you to subscribe to Mission Control so that you can really understand what's going on with your merchants in this program. And then we expect you to provide timely assistance. If we contact you because there's some missing information or incorrect merchant information, or we need some help on a merchant follow-up, we expect you to be responsive on that program. So that's it. Hopefully you find this program exciting. We're very excited. We think it represents a huge revenue opportunity for all of you and a great service to your merchants that are going to keep them with you for a very long period of time. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Bob, for that. And I'm going to switch back over to my screen, guys. Give me one moment. And you'll see Bob's email here as well. Basically, over in the right corner, you should see any moment. Bob at Poynt.com. Is it a blank screen right now?
Yeah, it's a blank screen, yeah.
Okay, let me just switch.
There you go. You got it.
All right, cool. So Bob at Poynt.co. Reach out. Again, we're just looking for the groups that are actually really motivated by Poynt. I think this is a really easy way to help convert your merchant to capital without having to introduce a whole new program and make it hard for them. It's kind of like, hey, here's what we can give you. Let us know if you want to move forward, and then we can obviously help you with consulting and giving them the details that they need. So definitely take advantage of this. Reach out to Bob if you have any questions. And again, thanks, Bob, for joining today.
You're welcome.
I have a new Poynt sales deck, and I said merchant deck. I'll email it to everybody who registered for this afternoon. And basically, it'll be a new deck. I'm going to go through it really shortly, but we wanted to make sure that you had something that you could kind of share with your agents and your team. Again, I do the weekly training if anybody ever wants to join that, but just kind of going through not just the hardware, but a little bit more specifications around the actual details of the hardware, and then, the extended battery packs, the extended sleeves, along with what other peripherals, basically are available, like kitchen printers, cash drawers. I talk a lot about Poynt HQ, going a little bit more in detail. So you can actually use this deck even for your merchants if you don't have a terminal and you want to do a little bit of a remote demo for them. Just kind of walk through the catalog, all the different options from Poynt HQ to actually Poynt Mobile, being able to, run your business from your computer as well as your remote, iOS or Android device. And then we go into the software bundles because, again, these are new. So talking about basic, advanced, and premium. If you wanted a more in-depth overview of this, if you go to our last webinar in our sales hub, I go into each kind of package in detail. But we do talk about the different features, and I am adding features as we go, invoicing, recurring payments. I know inventory management's coming out, working with Bob on trying to figure out a kind of a surcharge program, and then also just kind of all the details that we've gone through before. And in the Poynt App Center, I've kind of highlighted some of the important applications that have driven a lot of business by vertical. So here's a quick vertical map, which is helpful, but then actually going into the individual apps that have been very, pretty stellar for the resellers, and eHopper's been great for full service, full retail and getting into full service restaurants. The kitchen display app is obviously very useful if you need a bump screen. Manglement's been the leading salon app, kind of the replacement for MindBody. So just getting a little bit more exposure to your team, and obviously we can always give you a little bit more, detail and get you in front of these teams if needed. But a great way to kind of just set the stage again for your sales reps and for your merchants. So we'll keep adding to that, but I wanted to get that to you guys as soon as possible. Next up, I have John from Adsy. So this is really exciting. We really haven't had a program yet that has helped a lot of the Poynt merchants be able to do online to offline marketing. So actually pushing campaigns through, sorry, there's some noise in the background, but pushing campaigns through social media and then actually seeing and through email campaigns as well of like who's come back to your location, how much they're spending, all this wonderful data. So John, I'm going to hand over the controls to you. And give me 1 second. You should have the presenter role, and I can hear you just fine. And just let me know when you get it. I'll let you know when I see you on the screen.
Yep.
Okay,
so
perfect.
See the full screen there.
So John, thanks for yep. Feel free to put it in full screen, and obviously thanks for joining today. Really excited to tell the group about Adsy, and you gave me a demo a little while ago, and I was really impressed, and so I kind of pre-scheduled you to be on here because I knew this is really important and kind of a new dynamic and a new way to sell to merchants besides just racing to the bottom with fees, right? So, thanks again for joining and take it away.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I think Bob kind of hit the nail on the head when he said, payment processing to some extent becoming a commoditized service. So a lot of our agents and ISOs are using Adsy to kind of lead with like a value proposition, and it's helping them get through more doors and ultimately close more deals and more payment accounts overall. But just to give everybody on the call some overview of kind of why we came up with this concept, much like everybody else, we've been working with brick and mortar merchants for many years, and it kind of dawned on us in the last, 18 months or so that our retail merchants are at a big disadvantage when it comes to their marketing when you compare them to the online world. So I always like to use an analogy to kind of compare a physical, brick and mortar to an e-commerce business, to where most of these e-commerce operators, in order for them to acquire new customers, they are reliant on internet marketing. So what do? They run ads on platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Google. And because of that fact, there's all these online tools available to them so that they can have trackable marketing. So to give you an example, let's say an e-commerce business wants to run a Facebook ad. Well, they can actually use tools like pixels and cookies to understand how many people are clicking on their ad, who's landing on their website, and then if they ultimately make a purchase on the website, because that transaction is happening online, they can actually easily track it. And from a marketing standpoint, we call that a conversion. But 90% of all payment transactions actually occur in the physical brick and mortars. And essentially what's happening for them as the whole world's gone to digital is they're at a huge disadvantage because they can't see that full buyer's journey. Like you can see in this, graphic here, it's showing that if they put out ads, people can interact with those ads. But at the end of the day, if you don't know who's actually coming full circle and actually coming into your store to make a purchase, then we would argue that you really don't know your business at all. Because if you don't know your customer acquisition costs, odds are you don't know where your next customer is coming from. So we saw that as a big enough problem that we wanted to set out on a path to solve that problem. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but it is important for merchants to understand that there's been a lot of changes to the social media landscape. So what everyone is looking at right here is basically shifts that Facebook, who now owns Instagram as well, shifts they made to their algorithm. And basically what they're doing is they are no longer showing your posts that you put out organically, or meaning that whenever you put out a post and you don't pay for that post, it's called organic. So it used to be in 2012, if you had 1,000 followers on your Facebook business page, Facebook would show on average about 17% of your followers your non-paid posts. So in this case, 170 people. As you kind of fast forward to 2019, what Facebook is doing is they're actually diminishing that algorithm to about 1%. So now, in the present time, if you have 1,000 followers on your business page, they're only showing about 10 people on average your posts. So it's a big problem because, a lot of merchants just don't understand this is happening. And many of those merchants prior to Adsy, they're paying boutique marketers, they're paying street level marketers, a lot of money every month to just put out like a daily update, but they don't understand how ineffective that really is. So the takeaway here is that your merchants need to have a paid social media strategy moving forward. And then kind of in light of, negative news for the merchants, there's good news. So what we've done is we've compiled data to actually kind of show the marketing landscape as a whole. So, as a retailer, they have all these different mediums in which they can market their business. But really, again, the problem is none of these mediums are actually trackable. But if you look at for example, the newspaper, on average, it costs about $32 to reach 1,000 people, through the newspaper, whereas radio is about $8. And as you get down into social media, you'll notice that, the cost is much, much cheaper. And really the reason being is, there's these platforms have gotten so crowded with daily active users that anytime you're putting out that paid, social media advertisement, you're putting it out in like a news feed, which is essentially just a highway of potential buyers. So, it's a really good medium to attract customers, but you got to go about it the correct way. And I always like to talk about, the first time that everybody signed up for their, Facebook account or their Instagram account. What do you do when you actually sign up for those accounts? You enter in either an email or a phone number and a password. And we actually call those unique identifiers here at Adzy, because what we're able to do when we integrate to the Poynt Smart Terminal is when customers are checking out and they're, swiping their credit cards, we're able to aggregate all this really valuable and really rich data, like, the first and last name of the customer, the date and time that they actually made the purchase, what they actually purchased. And then when they're entering in those unique identifiers like the emails and phone numbers, we're able to actually match those up with their social media profiles so that we can actually retarget these people through ads. So it's a really impactful program. And essentially what it does is, when I shift gears and kind of show you the real product here, we're solving a lot of problems for the retailers, because we basically set up our system to where, we have an initial onboarding to where we're going to set up your merchant with an ad account. We're going to tie it to their Facebook business page. And then we're actually going to set up what we call a Facebook pixel. If you're not familiar with the pixel, it's not a big deal. It's just a piece of code that we'll actually install on your merchant's website to where if anyone clicks on their ad, we can actually track them through their cookies or IP addresses so we can serve them future ads. But really what we have found is like 9 out of every 10 merchants that come to Adzy, prior to us, they're not running targeted ads. They don't have a paid strategy. They don't have a pixel installed on their website. So at the end of the day, they're really not acquiring customers through social media. So when they use our platform, we can really set them up for success, and we can also give them trackable marketing for the first time ever. And then the last thing they need to do is authorize their Poynt Smart Terminal before they can start launching ads. So they'll just enter in their email and password, and then from there, you'll see all this data just starts flowing through the Adzy portal. So very similar to what you would see in Poynt, to where right now I'm actually filtering by anyone that's given me a .com email. If I wanted to do .net, you'll see it'll just update. I can click into any profile. I'm going to have all their transaction history. I'll have their purchase history. We have their unique identifier, like their email here. And really the whole idea behind this is we're helping retailers to not only, retarget their existing customers, because whenever they transact with us, we can essentially export this database. So with the click of a button, I'm going to export the entire database, and I'll show you how simple it is to actually reserve these people ads across Facebook and Instagram. When I just go over to the marketing section here, I can click Create Campaign, and then all you have to do is name the campaign. So this would be for the merchant to remember or to reference later. So for the sake of the demo today, I'll just do, Boomtown demo, and then they'll select from the drop-down, click Create Campaign. And then from here, we can actually just drop that file right back in the software to serve those people ads. So we'll select where we got the customer data directly from customers. We'll choose that file. Boom, it's dropped in there. And then I'm going to name it Boomtown Demo. Boomtown Demo. And now anyone who gave us an email and has transacted with our business previously, we'll be able to match that email up with whatever they, if they registered that on Instagram or Facebook, so we can serve them ads. And if we just take a second to really think about the power of that, you can compare that to email marketing where, a merchant will have to spend a lot of time putting together an email. And then by the time they send out that email, people are either going to do one of two things. They're going to open the email or they're not going to open the email. So it's kind of one and done. Whereas the average U.S. consumer is now spending over 35 minutes a day on Facebook. So now, as long as we're getting those emails, we have an opportunity to make this merchant's business top of mind for those previous customers almost on a daily basis, so long as they're logging into their Facebook or Instagram accounts and that we have an active ad campaign going. So I just showed you how easy it is to retarget your existing customers. Now, within the same ad set, we're actually going to put in a budget. So I could put in like $150. That's going to bill actually directly from Facebook to this merchant. They can put in, a time frame. So we'll do just like 1 month. And now I'm going to show you how easy it is for these merchants to actually run targeted ads to go after new customers within this same ad set. So we're going to just do, for demo purposes, ages 21 to 65. We're going to target both male and females. We're actually going to target people living in Orange County, California. So once we do that, you'll see this will pop up. We can select Orange County. And now we have, a little over, about 2.1 million people living in the Orange County area, ages 21 to 65. And then we can target people that speak English or whatever languages you want. But now here's the really, really important part to go after new customers. And this is what we make it incredibly easy for your business or your merchants to do, is we can target people based off their specific interests. So for example, maybe you own a boutique store that carries, Calvin Klein, and you want to target people in the area who have an interest in Calvin Klein. You can select that. And now we have a really targeted segment in Orange County of 69,000 people that have expressed an interest in Calvin Klein. And it's whether they like the page on Facebook or maybe they actually mentioned it in a post. Facebook is actually documenting everything we do on the platform. And just to kind of show you or take that a little further, we can literally track people who have, an upcoming anniversary. Because when people, go out to eat with their spouse for their anniversary, they tend to post about it on social media. So now let's say, maybe it's a jewelry store and they want to put ads in front of people with an anniversary in the next 31 to 60 days. Once you select that, now we have a really targeted segment here in Orange County. And it's really, really widespread, the amount of businesses you can go after with this product. Because at the end of the day, we know none of these merchants have trackable marketing, and most of them don't have any really targeted means to go after their customers. The last example I'll show you is, let's say maybe you're going after a dog groomers and you want to target people in the area who have pets. You can actually type in PetSmart. So anyone that's expressed an interest in PetSmart likely has pets, and that's a really good target for a veterinarian or a dog groomer to go after. So there's all kinds of different examples I can use, but once we create that ad set, it's super simple for your merchants to just drop a picture in here, and then they can create whatever kind of text they want. So we'll use the example of a restaurant. Join us for happy hour every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for half off apps. Then from there, they can actually link it to whatever landing page they want. More often than not, this is going to be their website. And then they can actually choose a call to action, so learn more. And what's really cool about our software is we've automated a lot of these processes to where when you put out this post through Adsy, it's going to go out on, your Facebook stories, your Instagram stories. It's going to go out through what we call the entire audience network. So like if you ever go on a website and you start getting ads for a website you were recently on, we have the ability to do that with this product. And what's even cooler about our product is, as long as a consumer just sees the ad, they don't have to like it, they don't have to comment on it, they just have to see the ad one time, we're able to actually track down to the penny, because we're getting transactional data from the payment networks, the amount of customers who actually saw our ads and then came in and made a purchase within 28 days. And then we can show the actual monetary amount that customers spent who actually viewed this ad campaign and then came in and made a purchase within 28 days. And then in the beginning of the demo, I kind of talked about how these e-commerce operators, they take metrics like customer acquisition costs for granted because they wouldn't operate their businesses any other way. But these retailers, they literally don't know that metric. So for the first time ever, we make it really easy for them to understand, here's how much it costs you to acquire a customer. So once they know that metric, then they can actually effectively, budget their marketing so that they can really put their business in a position to scale. So the last thing I'll show you is just kind of the bird's eye view that we'll give the merchant, just so they can have a really, clear-cut overview of, how their marketing is working for them. So it's going to show how much they spent, their average cost per click, how many people landed on their website. We show on a daily basis their impressions. And this is actually a demo account. So in a live portal, they'll actually see 4 more boxes above here that actually show how many customers converted, how much money they actually made in conversions, the percentage of people that converted, and then finally their average customer acquisition costs for the month. So in a nutshell, that is Adsy. And, again, the problem that we're solving is we want to bring trackable marketing down to brick and mortar. And we're really trying to level the playing field for these retail merchants so that they can compete against not only the big box merchants, but also the e-commerce merchants as well.
So guys, a lot of great information here. And one thing is, you don't have to memorize all of this. I think it's about starting the conversation and working with John. He can give you some really good lead-ins, and then his team can actually help you close the sale. And, obviously he can work out something with you directly, but a great way to obviously go after new prospects, a great way to bring your existing prospects in the door if you haven't already, and also just prove a lot of value to your existing customers as well. So if you need to set up a campaign to your existing customers or a campaign to your new customers, work with John directly. He's very good and kind of savvy on how to frame this if you're not very comfortable with doing it yourself, or, you might not be educated on all of this kind of marketing, digital marketing that you can do today. I wasn't until I got into the industry, but it's a lot of great knowledge and a lot of great things that a lot of your customers don't know about.
Absolutely. We're very happy to help, like, with your customers if they need help, running ad campaigns. Some of the things that we'll do, just that we've found to be really effective is we can actually retarget people who purchase specific items. So if someone goes to a restaurant and orders fish tacos, we can retarget that person with ads about fish tacos. So just kind of imagine if you're sitting next to your buddy and you ate at a restaurant a week ago and you're suddenly getting ads for the exact item that you purchased. So it's a really hyper-personalized approach, and it's obviously trackable. If anyone wants to get with me after today and learn more about the platform, you can email us at support@adsy, that's adsdy.com. If you go on our website, you can see all the different pricing packages. Basically, our revenue share model is very simple. We offer, a 50% revenue share for both the ISOs and the agents. So that's Adsy in a nutshell. Feel free to shoot us an email or reach out to Joey, and he can steer you in the right direction as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have his contact information and, this deck again in the follow-up email that I'll send out this afternoon to anybody that registered. So, John, thanks so much for joining. Really do appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining today. Feel free to email us, success@ for operations support, and then pointsales@GoBoomtown if you have any questions about new features, new products, things that we can help with. But appreciate everybody joining this session, and we'll see you next month.
Excellent. Thank you. See you.